now on CBS 12 News this morning, tracking Tropical Depression Fred. A closer look at the impacts that we're going to be seeing here through the weekend.
And a bumpy back-to-school week. Only days in, hundreds of local kids are in quarantine. Which schools are seeing clusters of cases?
And the Friday night lights will be shining again soon. We're taking a look at what local coaches are doing to protect their players before they step foot on the field this season.
Coming up, the simple tips to make sure your kid gets to and from school safety, and in a worst-case scenario, how they can fend off a possible attacker.
You're watching CBS 12 News this morning.
Now this morning we are keeping a close eye on Tropical Depression Fred. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Lincoln.
I'm Ashley Glass. It is a busy Friday. Lauren and Zach have been telling us all week we will see plenty of rain as the storm heads our way. And we have team coverage for you all morning long as our meteorologists are tracking Fred.
Let's start off with Lauren. She's with the track that came in about an hour ago. Lauren, what's it telling us?
No big changes to the track, and at this point, we're not really concerned with the track because it's not really going to move too much, and we just got a lot of rain that's going to be moving into the area. Center of the storm likely impacting the Keys. There are tropical storm warnings in effect for the Florida Keys, but we are on the very wet side and the disorganized side of the storm, so we have a lot of rain headed our way for the weekend. Between now and early next week, we could pick up anywhere from upwards to 3 to 5 inches of rain. You'll notice the southern portion of the state likely going to get very soggy. We had a lot of showers and storms coming onshore overnight. We will continue to see the possibility of rainfall across the area through the day. So your Friday doesn't look so great. Showers and storms and likely some downpours outside. Tomorrow, though, the moisture content goes up even more as Fred gets closer. Now, again, we're on the right side of the storm. We don't have to really worry about the wind too much. Fred's going to stay off towards our west. Our wind speeds will probably be sustained near 20 miles per hour. But a lot of rain is headed this way. So especially if you live in Palm Beach County, we could be dealing with the threat of some flooding outside. And we'll continue to see some rainfall even into the day on Sunday. Today, our highs are headed towards the mid to upper 80s. Tomorrow, we might be a couple degrees cooler with more clouds and rain around. But we're going to keep an eye on Fred for you throughout the rest of the morning and the day. Matt, Ashley?
All right, Lawrence, let's take a look here on our roads. And this is what our on-time traffic is looking like right now in southern Palm Beach County, Boca Raton. No slowdowns on 95 or the Turnpike. And when we take our traffic tracker, northbound Congress Avenue, you can see wet roads out there. If you're going out, make sure you take some extra time just to make sure that you are safe out there on the roadways.
And the time is 6:02. It's been a rough back-to-school week for the 10th largest school district in the nation. We're talking about Palm Beach County. And this morning, COVID cases among students are rising in nearly 6 schools. We have more back-to-school team coverage across Palm Beach County, everything from school drop-off safety to COVID protocols ahead of football season and what quarantine looks like for students. I want to start with you, though, Matt. What does the dashboard show this morning?
This is the Palm Beach County dashboard, day 4 of school for students, and we're seeing some not great numbers here. We're seeing that over the first 72 hours, a total of 105 students have tested positive, including 71 on the second day. Take a look at that big number there. Actually, that's the third day of school. That green bar showing students that have tested positive. 131 is the total amount of cases. Now, 71 is more than some of the worst days that we saw last year. And we're seeing some clusters in 3 schools. There are 6 or more cases at Jupiter Community High School, Panther Run Elementary in Wellington, and Wellington Community High School. Now, we didn't see many of these clusters last year. Less students were in school and more social distancing protocols were in place. We'll take a look at St. Lucie County coming up in 30 minutes. But first, because of these cases in Palm Beach, hundreds of students are in quarantine and they will not be able to come back until they test negative. Sam's at the COVID alert desk now for a look at what the district is doing now that online learning is not an option. So, Sam, how do these kids get their work?
Well, it's harder than you might think. Since there's no more remote learning, kids in quarantine will get makeup work to do on their own. That's according to a letter sent from the school district to its principals. It says teachers can put assignments in online portals or email them out. They can also send packets of work home, but there is no more simultaneous learning. Now, most kids do still have their district issued laptops, but there are other tools in place for remote learning that were purchased during the pandemic that are no longer being touched, and they cannot be used to help those kids who are quarantined quarantining unless there's an agreement with the teachers union. And some kids could be out of the classroom for a while here. Under state rules, kids can come back after 4 days if they have a negative test and are not showing symptoms, or they can wait a full 7 days and come back without the test. And if a child ends up having COVID, that is a full 10-day quarantine. And right now we know 440 kids in Palm Beach County are quarantined, and some school district officials are hoping the state allows them to begin remote learning again soon to help those kids stuck at home. Ashley.
All right, so it's 6:04 this morning. We are learning the Department of Education will meet next week on Tuesday to talk about what action should be taken against Broward and Alachua County school districts. Both ignored the governor's executive order that doesn't let schools enforce mask mandates. The governor says it should be up to parents. State Board of Education could recommend those districts face financial penalties like cutting superintendents and board members' salaries, as we've already heard the governor threaten.
On 6:05 this morning, hundreds of doctors sent a letter calling on stricter health measures to the governor. The doctors are demanding there be a mask mandate statewide. They're also asking the governor to ban indoor gatherings with more than 50 people and 6 feet of social distancing at all times. If you want to read this full letter, you can head over to CBS12.com.
6:05, another hospital is postponing elective procedures next week. Most procedures at Jupiter Medical Center will be rescheduled because of the rise in COVID cases we've been telling you about. Right now, the hospital has about 300 patients and 63 have tested positive.
Coming up on 6:06, right now, Florida has more kids hospitalized for COVID-19 than any other state in the country. Some young patients are being sent to the ICU with some serious health concerns. A local pediatric cardiologist is looking into rare cases of heart inflammation among kids who contract the virus. Dr. Carlos Zeidenweber says he is seeing COVID-19 can sometimes weaken these kids' hearts.
I can put some color and see if any of the valves are affected. When you ask me what's the most common thing I see, is that the heart function, instead of beating at 55%, it's beating at 20% or 30%.
Now, other experts say many of these cases are mild and children will recover, but that's not always the case. Dr. Zeidenweber urging all kids who are eligible to get vaccinated. He says the benefits of getting the vaccine severely outweigh the risk of heart inflammation.
6:06 now. It's a mix of excitement and worry in Palm Beach County schools as Friday Night Lights kicks off again next week.
It was a tough year last year for a lot of these football teams, and that's what they're staring at again because of the Delta variant. Our team coverage continues with CBS 12 News' Madeline Montgomery. She joins us live in West Palm Beach. You know, Maddie, the games are going to go on here. How are coaches protecting their players?
Here at Palm Beach Lakes Community High School, the coach tells me his number one worry is keeping his players safe since COVID is rampant, especially in children right now. So some of the things he's doing, he's requiring his players to wear masks when they're in the weight room, and he's also having coaches spray down each piece of equipment after each use, and Coach Shipman is also covering his office in Lysol any chance he can get. And a concern he has is how will he know if a team member has the virus?
The professionals, they get tested every day. You have collegiate athletes, they're getting tested, 2 or 3 times a week. The high school students aren't getting tested. So all we can do is just kind of push the vaccinations.
The Florida High School Athletic Association has implemented their own rules to keep players safe. They're having them social distance on sidelines, and they're not allowed to share uniforms or equipment. And of course, the football has to be cleaned before and after each game. And football season starts here for Palm Beach Lakes High School next week. It's going to be a home game. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Madeline Montgomery, CBS 12 News.
All right, thanks, Manny. 6:08. Remember this? This is a scary video for any family. A girl waiting for her bus when a man jumps out of his white van and tries to kidnap her, and she fights him off. This happened just outside Pensacola last spring. Thankfully, she did get out free. And with school back in session across our area, CBS 12 News reporter Andrew Lofholm is live with us. Get some tips that parents can teach their kids. You know, Andrew, you and I were both dads of young kids. This is scary stuff. What did you find out?
Yeah, Matt, this is absolutely scary. It's honestly shocking reporting on the story, talking to the principal here, talking to school police, the amount of people that either drop their kids off at the school bus stop all alone or here at school before anyone here is really to take care of them. And that is absolutely something that you should not do. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, there were 600 abduction attempts in the United States in 2020. The most common time for something like that to happen right before school or right after school. Now, God forbid something were to happen, but here are some simple tips that you can help teach your children should somebody try to take them.
We want you to see this video again. The girl notices the man and tries to run. That's smart. He manages to grab her, but can't hold on and flees the scene. We went to a local martial arts school to get some tips on fighting back.
All right, so what's something simple that you can teach your kids to avoid something like this happening to them? Here's what they teach 3 to 7-year-olds.
Get away, you're not my mom, you're not my dad, get away, help, you're not my mom, you're not my dad, get away, get away, get away. Get away, get away.
All right, so God forbid that doesn't work and you're actually taken by somebody, you're in their arms. Again, here's what you can do for 3 to 7-year-olds.
Eyes, nose, neck, ears, get away.
All right, now for somebody older, 8 or older, somebody's coming after you. What can you do to avoid getting taken then?
Get away. Get away.
They're all just basics. I think if you get too advanced on the different things, especially at a younger age, it doesn't allow the kids to kind of just naturally do it. You know, if they have to think of something, then there's a chance it might not happen.
All right, so coming up in the next half hour, we talked to the principal here at Orchard View as well as school police about something troubling that parents are doing, dropping their kids off way before they're supposed to. They're supposed to wait until 7:30. You're going to hear from them and their plea to please ask parents to wait to drop off their kids. But for now, we're live in Delray Beach. Andrew Lawfam, CBS 12 News.
Helpful stuff there, Andrew. Thank you. This disagreement over a new Costco on the Treasure Coast turns dangerous. Still ahead, threats city commissioners are now receiving that have them scared about the safety of their families.
Plus, still a big concern over vaccine hesitancy, especially among our local first responders. The incentives Delray Beach is now looking into to try and boost up those vaccination numbers.
And we are tracking Tropical Depression Fred, a really disorganized system, I'll be honest with you. But it doesn't matter about its track. It matters about the impacts. We're breaking them down county by county along the Treasure Coast. Next.